Hunting isn't just about filling a tag. It's about filling a need, the need to discover, to escape. And most importantly, we hunt because we need to manage. Like most hunters, Jim Sessions heads into the backcountry each fall in search of something specific. Some years it's a trophy. Some years it's a memory. This year, it's a difference.
Two years ago, on a black bear hunt in British Columbia, I met outfitter Paul Trappis. I've met my fair share of outfitters and guides, but I've never met anyone quite like Paul Trappis. Paul has been hunting and trapping his whole life. As a teenager, he ran trap lines alone in the remote backcountry year after year. Paul's trapping background has enabled him to work closely with the Ministry of Environment, radio collaring wolves. He's done trap research for the Canadian government, managed wolves in his guide area, and aided many ranchers in extracting wolves from their livestock. Having had great success in his craft and perfecting his snaring techniques over the past 30 years, Paul has produced and distributed his own instructional DVDs.
I kind of break it down into a couple.
The DVDs and Paul's hand-on instruction have enabled many guides, outfitters, ranchers, and sportsmen to have the tools to properly manage predators worldwide. Paul invited me to return to British Columbia during his fur season so I could see firsthand the impact one person can make.
It's really critical that people understand that in order for guide outfitters to operate, we have to have really healthy populations of ungulates. And that's also very beneficial for resident hunters, for First Nation hunters, for tourism, for people who enjoy wildlife viewing. So it's really critical for guide outfitters that the resource is real healthy and vibrant. Part of my management strategy up in my guide territory is to remove some of the predators to keep a healthy balance. It's really important that if you're taking off one side of the scales, that you have to balance the other side of the scale. So that means you've got to address the predators. Well, historically, there's been quite a few different methods for managing predators. In the past, poison has been used, and we found that the public doesn't support widespread use of poison, especially when government gets involved in predator control programs and use program. It's not been supported here in British Columbia or other places. Another method for controlling wolves is aerial gunning. It's probably one of the most effective methods, but again, here in BC, that battle was fought up in the Muskwa-Kachika, and the public didn't support aerial gunning. So it's left us with a decision, what tools do we have left to manage our predators?
I'm using a simple, what I call ground snare. And with these ground snares, just very simple, I have a little simple piece of wire which supports my cable. I have a locking device, a compression spring, and a breakaway. The snares that I'm using in coyote country, they have a 265-pound breakaway, which means that if a deer gets caught in them, they can break out, but a coyote can't. And then when I'm in wolf country, I use a heavier breakaway that's designed so that a moose can break out, but a wolf can't. If you're snaring a fox, I go with a 10-inch loop, 10 inches off the ground. I go with the same thing for lynx, about a 10-inch loop, 10 inches off the ground. When I'm snaring coyotes, I go with about a 12-inch loop, 12 inches off the ground. And if I'm snaring wolves, I go with an 18-inch loop, 18 inches off the ground.
From all my experience, using modern, humane, target-specific trapping methods are a very good way of selectively removing predators and helping restore the balance.
Well, this is the conclusion of our first day here on the trapline adventure with Inzana Outfitters. And our total take today was 16 coyotes, 2 cross fox and 2 silver fox. Not a bad day, Paul.
Yeah, it was a good day. We had a real nice cold snap, and that cold weather really drives the coyotes to the bait piles. And the areas we were working today was around ranches, and I'm working pretty close with the ranchers to do a predator reduction around ranches. And that has 2 benefits. Number one is the ranchers like to see a reduction of predators going into their calving season in the spring. And number 2, it's also really beneficial for the elk and the deer. Everywhere where they've done studies with deer and antelope, they found that the coyotes can kill up to 80% of those young fawns on their calving grounds. So anywhere where you can have a trapper operating and reducing the predators like this is very, very beneficial for the livestock and for the wildlife.
There's always work to be done on a farm, especially when that farm is surrounded by wolves.
We operate this cattle ranch as a family operation, have 700 mama cows, and we have to manage that quite carefully. Ranching, not unlike all businesses, has to be managed. And we've had some recent real management challenges with predators. This last summer, for example, the predators came here, wolves particularly, and took out 40, count them, 40 of our calves. Actually, they were the brothers and sisters of these calves you see right here. There's a pen of heifers right here that survived the wolf pack, but 40 of them. And it's just been devastating, not only to ourselves, and we are not unlike many other producers across this area and across the province of British Columbia who've just had a real challenge with the wolf predator. So with 40 calves missing, that's just a huge number. To give you some idea of what that equals to, though, calves this last fall, these calves they were taken out by the wolves between June and September, probably more July to September. So by October 25th, when their brothers and sisters were sold, they were averaged between about $700 and $900. So just, in just quick math, 800 bucks at 40 calves is 32 grand. And I don't know about you folks, but in my little world, that's lots. That's lots, because we still have all the costs associated with that, i.e. land payments, fuel, hay, parts, you name it. So consequently, as in business and in managing business, we have to talk to our bank about that. Where's that 32 grand that didn't show up that was in our projections for the total number of calves? Just a mess, just an absolute disaster. Another value that hasn't always been counted, but is certainly a value, those mama cows being chased around and stressed to the nines all summer, they didn't breed back. So we had an unprecedented number of open cows this summer. So this year, for example, we had 145 cows that didn't breed and that didn't get bred back. That these cows aren't on open range. They're all right here on this ranch, right within the confines of this ranch, on pastures that are fenced and cross-fenced. So they're not out over thousands and square miles of open range. They're right here on our own private land, and they were still devastated by the wolves. So then we have this wolf problem, this huge problem. And and my training is we got to be solution orientated as opposed to being problem orientated. We got this problem, what's the solution? So I became acquainted, who's become a good friend now, with Paul Trequas, a professional trapper, a lifelong trapper from this very area.
Well, I think probably one of the most amazing points to your story here, John, is that what you're able to see and attach actual numbers and price tags to is what's happening out in the wild, say to my moose population up in my guide territory, that people are not seeing that. So they're not seeing how many cows aren't getting bred because they're getting run by wolves all summer. They're not seeing the losses of the calves, that are just not even making it through their first year because of wolf predation. And so when I'm up there doing predator control in my guide territory, I'm able to do that in my guide territory. I consider it part of my business. But for down here, you're ranching. That's a lot of work. And so it's a great partnership between professional trappers and cattlemen. Is a great opportunity to build fantastic relationships and partnerships
that can benefit each other.
Absolutely, and that's all about. It's about predator control. Just as much in the guide area, we have to have predator control right here. And for the most part, ranchers, you know, it's a busy lifestyle. We don't have time to do all that. And wolves are, unlike coyotes or other predators, they're very smart.
Yes.
And we respect them for that. But they're also very smart, and it takes a professional. So I appreciate getting involved with you, and not to embarrass you, but it's been great to have you, and it gives me some confidence. And to be quite honest with you, it gives me some confidence going to my bank that I can put my mama cows out next summer and not going to be taking out 30 to 50 grand. We can't do that. We can't do that. Cattle ranchers can't handle those, sustain those losses. It's just not there. And then you have these open cows like this that got to go to a beef market well before their time. You can't do that. We've got to have control. We've got to have management.
It's all about a professional management plan.
Absolutely.
There's a wolf right over here.
Go for it.
That happened so fast. That is not the way I expected this to go down.
Predator control is and always will be a part of conservation. I actually got to experience firsthand what it takes to make a difference in the field. Every hunter everywhere can make a difference with a signature, a voice, and with your time. Get involved and make a difference. To book your trapline adventure in British Columbia or to order DVDs, give Paul a call at 250-964-2257 or go online at inzanaoutfitters.com.